We of today must choose how we will respond to the Holocaust. Let us tell the world that we will struggle against the darker side of human nature, that with God's help, goodness will prevail, and those who lost their lives will not be forgotten.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and welcome to this month's Live From at the Reagan Library. We really want to thank you for watching. We know you have so many options, and we always do appreciate when you tune in here. I want to start by reminding you that we really do want to start engaging with you. So whether you're watching live on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, please go to that comment box, put in your name, where you're watching from so I can say hello, or ask a question about the Reagan Library or about what I'm talking about. I'm going to be going to those comment boxes throughout the entire video, so please do not hesitate to use them. I see a gentleman, I took my glasses off, I think it was Anthony Briggs, wrote in on YouTube. Thank you so much, that's a really kind compliment. We try really hard here. But I'm actually coming live to you today to talk about how we are just 2.5 weeks away from the closure of our special exhibition, Auschwitz, Not Long Ago, Not Far Away. With rampant anti-Semitism around the world right now, never again is tragically now. And that's why we're doing this exhibition, because this exhibition demonstrates what happens when you turn a blind eye to hatred. No book, no podcast, nor history lesson can prepare you for the power and impact that this collection of artifacts holds. As I've shared with you in prior live casts, this exhibition showcases over 700 authentic artifacts of human and historic value. Artifacts that were direct witnesses to the horrors of Auschwitz and the Holocaust. And on January 28, 2024, like I said, just about 2.5 weeks from now, this exhibition closes its 10-month run at the Reagan Library and leaves the West Coast for good. Following the Reagan Library, this exhibition will travel to the East Coast. Following the East Coast run, all the items will be returned to their original lenders, and most of the artifacts are actually from the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum in Poland. Now, throughout the 10 months of this exhibition, the Reagan Foundation has been just eternally blessed to have been able to sit down and interview on camera over a dozen Holocaust survivors, as well as over about a half a dozen family members of survivors. All of those videos of resilience and fortitude are on our YouTube channel, but we're going to spend today's live from going to some excerpts of these intimate interviews. And we're going to start with one of the first interviews we did, I think it was our third, with an 85-year-old Auschwitz survivor by the name of Tova Friedman. Now, if you watch the entire video, her story is miraculous. She survived selection even though she was a young little girl, and went into a children's barrack. And at one point during her time in Auschwitz, all the children of the barrack were taken to the gas chamber. She actually knew where she was going because her mom had warned her, and they went through the whole process, and while they were in the gas chamber, it malfunctioned, and they were all sent back to their barracks. So she's one of the few people who lived to tell of the experience of the gas chamber. It's an incredible story. But while we were talking with her, she shared something that we found equally important. Let's listen to that now.
We have very little family, we who are Holocaust survivors, because all our family has been murdered. So that I'm the last generation of memory, and I was wondering who's going to remember us? All of you, because once I talk, I give you my story, and now it's yours.
Now that's why we're actually doing this exhibition. It has become our mission. It's become our mission to hear as many of these stories as we can, to get them on camera, to get them on film, so that we can share these stories with you, so that Tova's stories and all the stories of all the survivors can become your story to share. It is so important. But on top of that message she shared a moment ago, she shared another important message. Let's listen to that as well.
One of the lessons is there is nobody else. You have to stop evil at its root, wherever you see it, and it's you. It's nobody else. It's you.
We met another survivor. Her name was Eva Bretler, and she survived both Ravensbrück and Bergen-Belsen concentration camps, and she shared horrific stories. But she also shared the most beautiful stories of other prisoner kindness to her as she was a young child in the camps herself. But during this intimate little clip we're going to share with you, she shares why it's so important for her to go out and speak to students about the importance of not staying quiet when you see injustice. Let's listen.
Seeing injustice around you, if you keep silent, that the people who put it on you will continue. But if you happen to speak up, many times it puts an end to it. And I really ask multiple times students, don't be a silent observer.
I want to thank all of you for watching. I see that Dee Williams is watching on Facebook. Thank you so much, Dee. I see Perseverance 777 on YouTube. Thank you. I see that Anthony Briggs asked another question. Anthony, I will go back to that at the end of this episode. It's about Nancy Reagan. I'm going to stay on the topic of the Holocaust right now. So again, let us know you're watching. This is such an important live cast to be watching so that we can help share these stories. So please go into the comment box so I know you're watching and I can say hello. Now we're going to talk about, so as I said, we spoke to so many survivors. We spoke to survivors who survived the camps. We spoke to survivors who survived because they were hidden or because they escaped Nazi Germany. We even spoke to a survivor who survived because she was on Schindler's List. In this next clip, we spoke with Henry Whittleson, and Henry and his family survived because they were hidden. But don't let that fool you. Henry and his family did not have an easy life. They did not have an easy time. They had horrific time throughout the Holocaust. Many tragedies befell his family. It's actually one of the harder videos we filmed to watch. But at the end of the video, he shared a great uplifting story about the Hidden Children's Foundation. Let's listen to him now.
I wanted to join something with kids again, my age. So I joined what they call Hashomer HaTzair. This was my salvation until 1991, we formed this Hidden Children Foundation where we met every year. From what I thought was going to be 200 people, I rented 200 people in New York Marriott Hotel, turned out to be 3,000. Sisters and brothers were reunited. The next year we had it in Israel. After 3 wars, and cancer, which I beat 3 years ago. Voila. Here I am.
We want to thank Shauna and Tomas for watching us on YouTube. Again, please keep putting in your name on the comment boxes so that I can say hello to you and thank you for watching. The next excerpt we're going to go to is our most recent interview. So we started these interviews back in November of 2022. Our most recent was right before Thanksgiving in November of 2023, so just about a month and a half ago. And it was an incredible day. We brought together a 96-year-old survivor of Auschwitz with a 26-year-old Israeli survivor of the recent Hamas attack. The two of them spoke together and really, as they were sharing their stories, talked about how many similarities they had in their stories. And they really focused on how never again is tragically now. Let's listen to their story.
We are hoping that people that read this and become more aware of what's going on, that they will have a better understanding of what we are witnessing today in history.
I'll tell you, I did this tattoo because of the October 7th event. It says 20 out of 21 for my friend who died. And I did it here because it symbolizes the numbers on the arms of the Auschwitz survivors. So this is my way of saying never again is now, and I think this really connects to what David says now of our faiths.
That I have seen it come full circle. I've witnessed the Holocaust and didn't understand it. I was too young. But since I was in that Holocaust for 6 years and experienced it firsthand and lost everybody, I had a very good understanding of what hate can bring. We have to remain strong. We have to remain vigilant, and we have to remain resolute.
Seeing the exhibit here and hearing the stories, it really makes me understand that what happened in October 7th in Israel, the stories that I hear, almost the same stories that I hear in the testimonies 70 and 80, 90 years ago.
We set all our political views and our biases aside, and we are now one people fighting one cause.
Isn't that such an incredible story? It was such an honor to have them here with us together. Going back to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Live, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Again, please go to the comment section. I want to thank Melissa Guzman for watching. It's our pleasure to be giving this to you live. Sylvia Perez, you're welcome for doing this. Thank you so much for watching. Danielle asked if I'm related to a survivor. I am very fortunate. Although I am a Polish Jew, my entire family immigrated to the United States in the 1920s. And so, although I'm sure there is some distant relative who was taken to the camps, my immediate family, my grandparents, my aunts, and my uncles all made it to America before the Holocaust and the rise of Nazi Germany. So I am one of the very lucky few. So please keep those questions coming, those comments coming. I'm going to keep going back to them. We really do appreciate it. I'm going to go now to our oldest interview that we did, the interview with the oldest survivor. Back in November of 2022, we interviewed 100-year-old Auschwitz survivor Joe Alexander. I am so happy to report that I just spoke to his wife about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he is alive and well. In fact, just last month, he went to Iowa to give a speech about his experiences in the Holocaust to 3,000 people. God bless him. He is such an amazing man. But when we spoke to him, he talked about his time in Auschwitz. That's actually why I'm standing where I'm standing. Within this exhibition, you can see behind me, we have 3 original fence posts that guarded Auschwitz. Now, of course, when they were at Auschwitz, they were electrified to keep the prisoners inside. And Joe shares a story about how he would watch people in the camps throw themselves against the electrified fence so that they could take their own life before a Nazi took the life for them. But Joe talked about how that actually gave him hope and will to survive and to live to see another day. Let's listen to Joe.
When I was in Birkenau, I witnessed people going to the electric fence to get electrocuted. I saw people being beaten to death because they gave up. So when I talk to the schools at the kids, I've asked a lot of times, I've been asked, did you ever thought of giving up? I said, no, I never thought of giving up. I never lost hope, and I never stopped believing in God. And I said, I may have a bad day today, but I hope tomorrow will be a better day, but never give up.
Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this, we didn't just speak to Holocaust survivors. We actually also spoke to family members of survivors. And one of those family members, his name is David Scheinfarb, and both of his parents were survivors. His father survived Auschwitz. His mother actually survived a concentration camp in Indonesia. And we are fortunate enough to also do an interview with his mother. That interview is up on our YouTube channel. But in this specific clip that we're going to share with you now, David asked his father what it was like to survive Auschwitz and to live through Auschwitz. And his father decided to write David a letter about his experiences. And in this clip, we are going to share a piece of David reading that letter from his father.
So I asked my father, Moishe is his real name, it goes by Morris, if he would tell me his story. And he wrote it down for me. And it's fairly short, but I'd just like to read it, if that's okay. June 20, 1994. To my son, he wants to know. I'm writing what my memory can bring forward, as I was born in Poland on June 13, 1927, to a poor family. My father, David Israel, was a shoemaker, and my mother, Chava, helped as best she could. We were a family consisting of 3 daughters, Anna, Rachel, and Manya, and 2 sons, Meir and me, Moishe. The war broke out, and the Germans invaded Poland. My entire family was rounded up and brought to the ghetto. I ended up working on the roofs of buildings. One day, one of the Germans struck me in the head with the butt of his rifle, and I fell off the roof. They brought me to a doctor who did something, and made my eye blind. From then on, I could only see out of one eye. One day, my older brother, Meyer, was walking towards us, and a Germans shot him in the head in the street, and he fell dead. Shortly after that, the Germans put all the Jews on trains, and we arrived in Auschwitz, a big space to get off the train. My mother was holding my hand and said, "Stay with your brother-in-law, Leon." She insisted I go with him, probably because she saw what was happening. The Germans were separating the women and the weak-looking men from the young and healthy men. I hid behind Leon's back. I was very skinny. The line was getting closer to the German officer, who motioned for my mother and my father and my sisters to go one way, and then he motioned for Leon to go the other. The German saw me and motioned me to follow my mother. When he looked away, I ran back to Leon because my mom told me to go. My family was sent directly to the gas chambers. I was given a tattoo number on my forearm, B6751. Both my parents were Holocaust survivors, and I want to share their story with you so it becomes your story.
So before we go back to watching more interviews, I'd like to go to a few comments I see on our LinkedIn page. I'm going to start with Sylvia. I had no idea either. She commented, for those of you not on LinkedIn, that she didn't know there were concentration camps in Indonesia. As I said earlier, I'm Jewish. I was raised to know about the Holocaust, to learn about the Holocaust. And it wasn't until we did this exhibition that I learned about those camps. And that's what's so fascinating about exhibitions like this, is the things that you learn. And it's so important to come and learn from them again so that it doesn't happen again. The other shout out I want to give is one that just means the world to me. Luis commented on LinkedIn. He is watching. For those of you who don't know, and probably none of you know, Luis is the creator of this exhibition. It was his vision to go and reach out to the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum to create this traveling exhibition. This was his idea. It's been traveling since, I believe, 2018. It is just one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. In 2017, I saw an article in the New York Times that this exhibition was being built through this Spanish company. I don't speak Spanish. I sent an English email to the Spanish info box to say, hi, I'd love to talk to you about bringing in this exhibition to the Reagan Library, thinking no one would respond to me, not even knowing if anyone would understand my English email. And Luis got back to me within 24 hours. And the two of us began a conversation that lasted for years that ultimately led to this exhibition being here at the Reagan Library. I'm eternally grateful to him and his company for building this exhibition and for allowing it to come to the Reagan Library. So Luis, thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me. So going back to our video excerpts, this is actually the last one we're going to share today, and it's with Sandy. Both Sandy's mother and grandmother survived the camps. And during our interview with her, she actually, it's really amazing, her grandmother wore a dress that she was wearing as a uniform out of Auschwitz, which Sandy still has, and Sandy brought that dress with her for her interview, and she shared it with us on camera. But in this excerpt, she talks about the importance of why museums really need to house exhibitions like Auschwitz not long ago, not far away, and why it's so important for community members to come see these exhibitions so that it doesn't happen again. Let's watch.
The reason it's so important for people to go through exhibits, whether it's ours or the one in the Reagan Library, is because if we don't talk about this, then it will be forgotten. And people need to know the truth. And the more artifacts we have, and the more truth we have, and the more that we have from opposition to show, we have to be able to answer people that believe this never happened. Without museums and exhibits, we're in trouble. And that's why this is so important.
They were all incredible stories. Thank you for watching that. I want to thank Andre for watching on Facebook, as well as Christine from watching on Facebook. And Kevin, yes, never again, don't be silent. That can't be, that is the motto of this exhibition. And thank you so much for sharing that on LinkedIn. It's something that everyone needs to say and believe and help make happen. So let's go back and talk about Sandy, right? So Sandy talked about the importance of seeing exhibitions like this. This is why this exhibition is at the Reagan Library, so that people can come and learn from it and so that this doesn't happen again. Now, I want to again point out, as I said to you earlier, this exhibition is only at the Reagan Library for 2.5 more weeks. It leaves the West Coast for good. So please, if you haven't seen it yet but you want to, or you've seen it but you want to see it again, now is the time. Now might be your only time. So please go to our website to get your tickets, either reaganlibrary.com or more specifically, reaganlibrary.com/Auschwitz, reaganlibrary.com/Auschwitz. Either way, reaganlibrary.com or reaganlibrary.com/Auschwitz will get you to those ticketing pages. It's so important to book your tickets in advance because we are selling out. We'd hate for you to drive all the way up here to be told there are no tickets. I want to point out it takes people 2.5 to 3 hours to go through this exhibition alone, because there are 700 artifacts, there are 50 audio stops, there are so many survivor testimonies. So really plan your day accordingly to that. Your ticket does include admission into the main Reagan Library and Museum, our Air Force One pavilion, our whole grounds. So it really can be an all-day affair. But most importantly, buy your tickets in advance. Again, reaganlibrary.com/Auschwitz or simply reaganlibrary.com. Now, as we do normally, we're going to share some items with you from our store, and then we'll go back to the screen. So again, if you wanted to let us give you a shout out or ask a question, now's the time to go to the comment boxes on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. I'm going to go to those in just a minute. But let's talk about some items we have in the store. Now, obviously, the holidays were just a month ago, so Christmas and Hanukkah are behind us. But our store does still have a select handful of the menorahs. This is just one of the samples that they sold in the store during Hanukkah. reaganlibrary.com/store. If you go to that page and scroll down just a little bit to the featured product section, you'll see everything we're talking about right now, but then again, there's an entire selection of Auschwitz not long ago, not far away merchandise you'll find in our store, as well as, of course, all the items about Ronald Reagan. This one is the book I really want to highlight, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Of course, a famous book, an Auschwitz survivor, but it is this book that Luis read that gave him the idea of doing an Auschwitz exhibition. This is the root reason that this exhibition exists. I highly recommend, if you haven't read it already, to read it. It is an incredible book, an incredible story. If you remember in the beginning, I talked about all the different ways, all the different types of ways people we interviewed survived. And I talked about surviving camps and hiding and escaping, and that one woman actually survived because she was on Schindler's List. This is the book of Selena Karpinias's life and how her and her family ended up on Oskar Schindler's List. It's an incredible book. She talks about how she never talked about her experience until Steven Spielberg's movie, Schindler's List, came out, and she says that Oskar Schindler gave her her life, but Steven Spielberg gave her her voice. We interviewed her. We did a whole conversation about this book, and that whole conversation can be found on our YouTube page. But we are selling signed copies of her book in our store, again, reaganlibrary.com. And then when this exhibition was put together, the company put together an extraordinary, beautiful coffee book on the exhibition with photos and descriptions of the various items and displays that are within the exhibition, the people that the exhibition talks about. It is a beautiful book, and we highly recommend purchasing this, even if you haven't seen the exhibition. The history and what you will learn through this book is quite extraordinary. We really recommend it. Again, reaganlibrary.com/store. We're even selling battery-operated lights. This is to represent a Yortzeit candle. Of course, Yortzeit candles are supposed to last 24 hours, and this is a battery-operated one, but just something for memory. So those are items you can get. I'm going to do one quick look before we end this to see if anyone else commented. We have Traveling on Adventures on our YouTube page. Thank you so much for coming to the exhibit. We really appreciate you coming last month. Randy Dean on YouTube, thank you so much. And before I wrap up, I do want to get back to Anthony's question. I appreciate that you are interacting with us so much on YouTube. It means a lot. He asked a question about Nancy Reagan and the lack of content on YouTube about her. He talked about how she did a PBS special in 2000 that he can't find online. So one of the reasons why there isn't too much content on her is that the White House communications agency followed Ronald Reagan. So almost every video that we own all of his photos, his videos, all of his work, and the things that are on our YouTube channel that came from the White House Communications Agency followed Ronald Reagan. So it's his speeches, his public outings, things like that. If Mrs. Reagan did a joint speech with Ronald Reagan, we have those videos on our YouTube. But our content is only from 1981 to 1989, although we do have a very small amount of pre-presidential gubernatorial material and a few small items post-presidential. But for the most part, it's 81 to 89, and that's why a 2000 PBS special of Nancy Reagan won't be found on any channel that we have, perhaps something you could find through PBS. Shauna Stevenson asked, when is the last day? Saturday, January 28th, 2024. That day was specifically chosen because one day prior, January 27th is International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and it was very important to the exhibitor as well as to us that this exhibition be open on Holocaust Remembrance Day, again, which is Saturday the 27th. The final day here is Sunday, January 28th. Al Meyer, his dad lived through a communist camp in Serbia. He lost his dad there. We're so sorry about that, but thank you for watching. Thank you for letting us know. So again, thank you all for watching. I just want to remind you again, these were excerpts of just a small handful of interviews. We have over 30 videos of interviews with survivors and survivor family members on our YouTube channel. It's really easy. I really recommend you watch them. Again, let's go back to Tova. They're sharing their stories with us, so we can share them with you so that you can share them onward from there. So please go to youtube.com/Reagan Foundation. Go to the playlist tab, click playlist, and then find the playlist that's entitled Auschwitz, Not Long Ago, Not Far Away. And there you will find all 30 videos. I don't think anything's over 5 minutes. You can watch them in small bites. Again, a lot of them are hard to watch, but it's so important. So again, please, let's keep these stories going. Let's remember never again. Thank you so much for watching us. We'll see you next time.